Lajaklaku is a manufacturer that produces health supplement diet tablets called Lajakuri. One of the tablets called Pil Lajakuri G had been recorded as our sample data. According to the sample data, there are 200 sample observations taken at random from 3 production shifts run daily, morning, evening, and night. And as we know, it is important to ensure tablets uniformity at every batch produced so that further corrective measures can be taken at the shop floor. We divided this into 4 parts. The first part is the data presentation. We tabulated the given data into the summation of data, the average of data, the descriptive statistic, and also the frequency table of all the categories. Numerical form. The right table is summation of data. We can see that the sum of the weight is 17,148.31 mg. The sum of relative density is 17,618.4%, and the sum of tensile strength is 1,428.9 MPa. In the left table is average of the data. We can see that the average of the weight is 350.74155 mg, the average of relative density is 88.092%, and the average of tensile strength is 7.1445 MPa. This is the descriptive statistic of the data: the weight, the relative density, and the tensile strength. Tabular form. So this is the frequency table of the weight with the grand total of 200. The right table is the frequency table of the relative density with grand total of 200, and the middle is the frequency table of the tensile strength with the grand total of 200. The graphical form. The first one is for summation of the data. The second one is for average of the data. And this is the frequency of relative density, the frequency of the weight, and the frequency of the tensile strength.
My name is Amr Amin Hamad, and I'm going to talk about goodness of fit test. So, the Food and Drug Administration (FDA) authority requires the white of the standard tablets produced by manufacturers should be normally distributed with 350 mg, with a standard deviation of 14 mg. In this case, we have to perform the goodness of fit test to check whether the 3 insignificant advances that Lajaklaka tablets produced in December 2020 radius of shift do follow this description. So here we see hypothesis system show the weight of standing tables produced by manufacturers follow the normal distribution. Actually, the weight of standard tables produced by manufacturer does not follow the normal distribution. By assessing the surfing level at 0.05, reject x2 test and x2 alpha KP. So here are the frequency table of light, and here we find the probability in order to get the expanded frequency. And here, since the expanded frequency less than 5, this we compare them. And here we see the x-squared test equal 10.49422651, and then x-squared 0.0511 equal 19.6751. It does not lie in the rejection region. We failed to region the weight of a standing tablet produced by manufacturer follows a normal distribution of a mean 350 mg with the standard definition of 14 mg at if it takes level 0.05.
In order to check whether there is any significant difference between the table weight from the different sheets, we apply the methods of one-way ANOVA using Excel. There is 200 numbers of observations and the levels k equal to 3. We apply hypothesis testings. Hash now, there is no any significant difference between tablet weight from the different sheets. Hash alternative, there is any significant difference between tablet weights from the different sheets. We divide strips into 3 groups to obtain the data: evening, morning, and night. This is the Excel output summary from a one-way analysis of variance. The means from the 3 groups evening, morning, and night, as well as the count, sum, and variance for each group can be seen in the summary table. The F critical in the table refers to the upper critical values of F distribution by default of 5% significance level. We reject hash now if F calculated larger than F critical value. We reject hash now if P value smaller than alpha. From the ANOVA table, since F calculated equal to 0.9418 in 4 decimal place, smaller than F critical value 3.0418 in 4 decimal place, then it does not lie in the rejection region. We fail to reject hash now, thus there is no significant difference between tablet weight from the different sheets at significance level of 0.05. Now we will proceed to the Excel summary output for regression analysis. Study plans. Tablet hardness can be represented by its relative density and tensile strength. Studies have indicated that each tensile strength depends on the relative density regardless of production shifts. The relative density is assumed to be X input and the tensile strength is assumed to be Y input. Linear regression model. The relative density is assumed to be X input, the tensile strength is assumed to be Y input. Thus, relative density is independent variable and tensile strength is dependent variable. Now I put it in the relative density and tensile strength into X input and Y input respectively. We move to the Excel analysis result. From the table of regression statistics, we can obtain the value of sample coloration coefficient directly from multiple R. Quantity R squared is called coefficient of determination and is often used to check the adequacy of a regression model. R equal to 0.8383. Now from the table of ANOVA, if the significance F larger than or equal to alpha, we fail to reject hash now. If significance F smaller than alpha, we reject hash now. Alpha equal to 0.05. The value of significance F equal to 4.6992 times 10 power of negative 54, which is much lower than alpha 0.05. Thus, we reject hash now and conclude that the data in this example provide a very strong evidence on the existence of linearity in the regression model. Now we move to the table of estimates of unknown regression coefficient. The information on the estimate of alpha and beta are represented by the rows in the set and relative density respectively. Thus, alpha equals 0.0183 and beta equals 0.0809. This is the line fit plot. The straight line is predicted tensile strength and the dot is tensile strength. The straight line in the figure represents the fitted regression line. We will have y equal to 0.01828 plus 0.08090x. A batch was found to produce a cluster of tablets that show row relative density values of 68%, 74.3%, and 80.1%. Then I put it into x1, x2, and x3 and substitute into equation. Thus, y1 equal to 5.51948, y2 equal to 6.02915, and y3 equal to 6.49837 respectively. Now we will check the validity of the linearity of regression model. By testing the hypothesis about the stock data, we will actually test the linearity of the simple linear regression model. Hash now beta equal to 0, hash alternative beta not equal to 0, significance level equal to 0.05, p value for beta is 4.6992 times 10 power of negative 54. The t value is obtained from the table. This value is much lower than the chosen significance level of the 0.05, thus beta is significantly not 0 at 5% significant level, which implies that the linearity between the relative density and tensile strength does exist. Comment on the validity of the model. For the table pair Lajak-Kurot G, coloration coefficient R equal to 0.8383, which is close to unity, it implies that there is a strong positive linear relationship between relative density and tensile strength. P value equal to 4.6992, times 10 power of negative 54. This value is much slower than chosen significant level of 0.05. Thus, beta is significantly not zero at 5% significant level, which implies that the linearity between relative density and tensile strength does exist. 99% confidence interval in linearity relations between the relative density and tensile strength of taper pale larger Coulomb G does exist. In conclusion, there is significant evidence that larger Lacour tapered G produced by manufacturers in December 2020, regardless of shade, follows the normal distribution of mean 350 mg with the standard deviation of 40 mg at significant level of 0.05. There is not any significant difference between tablet weights from the different sheets at significant level at 0.05. The predictions of the tensile strength for low relative density values of 68%, 74.3%, and 80.1% are 5.51948 megapascal, 6.02915 megapascal, and 6.49837 megapascal respectively. There is a strong relationship between relative density and tensile strength, as the linearity between the relative density and tensile strength does exist. That's all from us. Thank you.